Pythagorean theorem, part 2. Example 6. The older square-shaped floppy disk had a perimeter of 21 inches. What is the diagonal length of the diskette to the nearest tenth of an inch? Square-shaped, so it's a square. The perimeter is 21. Well, since all the sides are the same, 21 divided by 4 is 5.25. So all the sides are 5.25. And we want to know the diagonal. So here we go. We have a right triangle with dimensions of 5.25. So 5.25 squared plus 5.25 squared equals c squared, which would be the diagonal. So 5.25 squared is 27.5625 plus 27.5625 is equal to c squared. So that is 55.125 is equal to c squared. So you just take the square root, and the square root of 55.125 is 7.4. So the nearest tenth of an inch, the answer would be 7.4. Okay, so let me scroll up and please pause and do the quick check yourself. Okay, hopefully you paused. The length of the diagonal with the square of a perimeter of 36. Well, 36 divided by 4 is 9. So each side is 9. And then we have the diagonal. So 9 squared plus 9 squared is equal to c squared. So 81 plus 81 is equal to c squared. So 162 is equal to c squared. So c is equal to the square root of 162. That is an exact answer. However, there is a way to simplify that radical. We'll talk about that later. But if you put that in your calculator, the answer would be approximately 12.7. 12.7 is an approximate answer. The square root of 162 is an exact answer. Okay, just a couple last problems here. Okay, example 7. This is a trapezoid, and we'll talk more about trapezoids in the coming up weeks. But right now, we just see that x is this whole length of this side. Okay, and so we see that this is going to be a rectangle here in the middle because of our right angle. So we know that this part right here is 10. And so we are missing this and this. Well, we can see that these are going to be, or I'm going to just at least tell you for now, these will be congruent triangles. One here and one here. And so if we can solve for this measurement right here, we can put the same measurement here and then add it to this 10. So I'm going to draw this triangle like this. And you see I have 10 and I have 8. And this is the side that's missing. I'm going to call that B. So I get 8 squared plus B squared is equal to 10 squared. 64 plus B squared is equal to 100. If you subtract 64 from both sides, B squared is equal to 36. And the square root of 36 is 6. So this is 6 and this is 6. So x is this whole thing here, which is 6 plus 10 plus 6. So x is 22. So again, there's a quick check. I would ask you to please pause your video for a moment and see if you can do the quick check yourself. Hopefully you paused, and you'll see it's exactly like the last one. So we're just solving for that measurement right there. This is 13. And so it's 15 squared plus b squared is equal to 17 squared. So 15 squared is 225 plus b squared is equal to 289. And if we subtract 225, we get b squared is equal to 64. And so b is equal to the square root of 64, which is 8. And so x is 16 plus 13, or 29. Okay, the next examples ask us to find the distance between 2 points using Pythagorean theorem. So I have plotted the point 3, -2 and -1, 1. So we want to know how far is that. So we just simply draw a right triangle and see that the distance from here to here is 3 units, and the distance from here to here is 4 units. And there's our right triangle. So 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to, and this side would be c, because it's across from 90, c squared. 9 plus 16 is equal to c squared. 25 is equal to c squared, and the square root is 5 is equal to c. So the length of this side is 5. So on the quick check, it asks you to solve the next one using both the distance formula and Pythagorean theorem. And so you can do these either way. So -7, -1 is right here, and 1, 5 is right here. And so they want to know how far that is, so we can draw a right triangle and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So to do it by Pythagorean theorem, 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. 36 plus 64 is 100 is equal to c squared. So c is equal to the square root of 100, or 10. Now we could have solved it by x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and take the square root of everything. So we'll use, these are our x's. So -7 minus 1 squared plus our y's, -1 minus 5 squared. I get the square root of -8 squared plus -6 squared is the square root of 64 plus 36, which is the square root of 100, which is 10. So I think Pythagorean theorem is a little shorter and usually a little bit easier, but the distance formula always works as well. All right, that's the end of the video.